Gentlemen, welcome to day 2 of iDTX 2022. This morning, we've got a great session coming up looking at screencasting. This is one of those things where I think you kind of think, oh, yeah, it's a screencast. How complex could that be? And then you watch a screencast and you go, wow, that was dreadful. Turns out, lots more to it than people assume the first time round. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's an area where, let's say, some improvement could be made across the board. So, without further ado, I will hand over to this morning's host, Emmett.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks a million. Hopefully everyone can see my screen there. Just let me know. Super. Okay, guys. So we're going to jump in. So just before we jump in, I just want to say thank you very much to Tom. It's great to be here today. It's great to share with you today about Screencast. And I just want to say, Tom, fantastic on organizing and hosting such a brilliant event online. So to jump in, if you jump into the chat, guys, have any of you seen the Lego movie? Just let me know in the chat. Give that a few seconds there. Anyone there at all has seen the Lego movie? Good man, Tom. So, guys, the main character in the Lego movie, his name, the reason I have to have this character here is the name of the main character in the Lego movie. His name is Emmett Brakowski. And it's the only film my kids have ever seen where the lead character is called Emmett. So I have no choice but to use this guy today. So there's Emmett Brakowski. He looks very happy. He looks like he's drinking lots of coffee. So there are all the reasons I have to use him today as my avatar. So today, guys, as Tom just mentioned at the very start, the idea of today really is to help you guys take off with screencasting. That's the whole idea that we're trying to get to today. So what we'll do at the very start is if we just jump in, we should have a poll ready. So Tom, if you could pop that poll on the screen, that would be great.
Hey guys, if you hop onto the polls section of the chat, if you go to the top of the screen, there's chat, polls, and QA. Click on polls and you'll see the poll there.
Super, Tom. Thank you very much. So, guys, the question I'm asking in the poll is, how is your week going? Are you good, great, amazing, or sure, look at you know yourself? And Tom, can we see that poll?
So it's an event-wide poll, everyone. So it's in the event section. So far, we've got 50-50 between good and great.
Super, Tom. Thank you very much. I'll give that another few seconds, guys. The reason I have the sure look at you know yourself in there is I had the pleasure I'm working with a group of Chinese lecturers a number of years ago, and sure look at you know yourself is a really Irish way of answering a question by not answering a question. I'm from Ireland, by the way. So it's a real Irish way of saying that. So what was really interesting at the start of the semester, and none of the lecturers would pick that choice. And then by the end, they would all say, sure, look at you know yourself, which was brilliant. And then they contacted me back from China to say that they're now in a university in China and all of their students are actually saying the sentence, sure, look at you know yourself. So that shows that learning and global learning really works. So, Tom, we can finish with sharing the poll and we go back to the screen if that's okay.
Sure thing. So final results on the poll. 42% good, 42% great, 11% amazing, 3.7% sure, look at it, you know yourself.
Yeah, there's always a 3.9%. So that's only going to grow over time, guys. So that's fantastic. So, Tom, if we could share the screen there again. Super. So, guys, thanks for joining in the poll. And as I said, it's great to be here this morning. So today's session, guys, is going to look at two parts. And what we're going to look at is the first part is all about what I kind of call getting your head in gear. So what are screencasts? Why would you use screencasts? Good practice about screencasts, top tips about screencasts, thinking about using them. Why could they help you? Why could they help your learners? And preparing. And it's really all about getting your head in gear. Second part then, what we're going to look at today is a bit about the tech. So I'm going to quickly bring you through and demo some tech that you could use to quickly get up and running with Screencast. So I go to a lot of conferences, a lot of webinars, and we often hear people talk about it's great for A, B, C, D, and E, and then you leave knowing I don't still know how to do it. The idea of having the two parts today is I'm going to share with you how to get your head in gear, and then the second part is a quick demo of some tech that you can use. So is everybody still with me? Everyone's still awake on this Friday morning at 7 minutes past 10. I hope you are. So screencasting, part one. What is it? What is a screencast? And what a screencast is, it can be defined as a digital recording of a computer screen. It can be defined as a video capture screen, and it often contains audio narration. So often when I mention this to my friends or colleagues or people I know, and I obviously talk to people about screencasting too much, I obviously have problems, is screencasting is not this. So people think, I have a smart TV at home, I have Chromecast connected to my TV, and they think they have their phone and they're casting it to the TV. So if you want to watch a TV program from your phone on your TV, that's fantastic. I love it, but that's not screencasting. That's just putting your phone on your TV. So what Screencast is a how-to video. It can show you step by step how to do a task on a computer screen. So that's the key thing. It's all about a computer screen. So if you go to YouTube and you see a video of a guy playing a guitar, that's a video of a guy playing a guitar. That's fair enough. That's excellent. We can learn lots about that. But a screencast is something that happens on a computer screen, and you record that computer screen, like how to log into a new system, how to navigate something, how to open a document, how to close a document. Anything that happens on the computer screen that you record and typically you narrate over is what we call a screen recording or a screencast. So they're fantastic, and we see them and we use them probably every day of the week. And they're a really, really good learning resource to add to a learning campaign or add to your bigger learning activity. So what they can be is they can be an intro, they can be an explainer video, they can be a tutorial video. And with that, it allows you to create tutorials. It allows you to share videos, and it allows learners then to learn on their own, and they can engage a bit with the learning, and then they can enhance the learning. And what I really like about it is it can help with learning on demand or learning at the point of need. So I've often say, like, you only need to know how to change a tire when you need to know how to change a tire, when you have a puncture. And a lot of learning in the workplace is learners need to know how to do something at the moment of need, when they need to know how to do that thing. So they might necessarily do a course and then remember 8 months later how to do something from that course. They might just want to know, how do I log into the system? And can someone please show me? And that's what we use YouTube for nearly every day of the week. So they can be really, really useful. And it really helps with that learning at the point of need. So screencasting. So I'm now going to share some top tips and help you create like a pro. So first obvious one, and a lot of these things are kind of going to, oh, that's fair enough, but that's kind of obvious. But yeah, I'm sharing what is good practice. So the first thing is prepare. So be clear of what you want to show on the screen. So like when you open your desktop or open your computer, you've loads of applications, you've loads of things, you've loads of things you want to show, you've loads of things you want to share, but be clear exactly what it is you want to show. So actually, like, jot down, I want to show someone how to log into system X. So I want to show. And then on the screen, actually be clear of the step-by-step of the on-screen task. And then be clear of the words you want to say. Excuse me. Be clear of the words you want to say. So yeah, you want to jot down, I want to show them how to log in, and then be clear of the words you want to say, because you are typically going to accompany your actions on the screen with your voice. And I'd always advise write a script. So what you do is you write a script of, I'm going to show you how to do boom, boom, boom. And then you practice the script, you practice moving around the screen, you practice with the words. So you practice some more, you practice some more. And then you get to the point where, okay, I now have a good outline of what I want to share and what I want to say. And you practice moving the mouse around on screen. And what I mean by that is you've jotted down what it is you want to show, but just be clear that on the screen, I'm going to click up here and then click there and then click here. And also practice the fact that you don't want to do that too quickly. Because if you move the mouse around way too quickly and that gets recorded, you end up almost like seasick. So your learners will be constantly watching this mouse moving around the screen all the time. So practice moving the mouse around on the screen, and that will help them reframe or resynchronize your steps. And I see this all the time. So in your head, you go, I'm going to show them how to click on this, 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 and this. But then when you actually step through it on the screen, you realize you have one step out of sequence. So then you have to go back. So that's kind of a high level, but what do you actually do? So when you're getting started, again, what I recommend is you write a script. So you write down what you want to say, how you want to say it, and what you want to cover. So actually get open a Word document or get a piece of paper, but open a document, write down what you want to say, how you want to say it. So pick the words and what you want to cover. And use friendly conversational tone. This is not a formal academic thing. Use friendly conversational tone that you would converse with your friend. This is how you would show them. So, and if you can, have the first word as either an active verb or you're doing something. So today I will show you how to do this. First you open, then click on this, then select that, and then you add this, and then you move this over here, and then you save it as this. And it completely depends on your application, but you can get the point. You can see what I'm getting at is today I'm going to show you to this, and then you move around the screen. So you're moving the mouse around the screen and you're saying, this is what I'm going to show. And then you actually phrase it to match up with what you're going to do. So scripts are fantastic. They're brilliant. And they're really helpful when you're getting started doing these things called screencasts. Because what they allow you to do is they focus the mind on what you want to say. So you actually have to write it. So you're going to write it, and then it helps you become comfortable with the screen. So it kind of provides a safety net or a crutch. Because typically when you do something like a screencast, in this now, like I'm on screen, but typically in my screencast, I'm not on the screen. So if I have a script on screen too, or printed out, I can just read the script. So I don't need to remember the 15 sentences or the 12 sentences or the 3 paragraphs. I don't need to remember that. It's in a script. So it's really helpful to have that written down. It allows you to focus the mind on what you want to say and helps you to become comfortable with the screen. So now you have the script done and you can then just be comfortable navigating around the screen. But before you actually jump in and record, what I always recommend is, and a good tip here is you write the script and leave it alone for a while. That's good in any editing or any going back and reflection or any going back and review. Leave it alone. Write it. If you could leave it for a day, fantastic. If you haven't got a day, even leave it for an hour for a lunch break. Just write it, have it written out, maybe print it out, go for lunch or come back the next day and then go and actually say it out loud. Actually say this thing out loud. Today I'm going to show you, boom, I'm going to do X. And then you think, is that how I would say it? Does that sound right? Because you'll often find when you come back that you might have used too many words the first time, or it just doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound like something you would say. So actually say it out loud. Now, obviously, you're in an open plan office with a load of colleagues. Maybe don't stand up and start doing this big public speech. So maybe go somewhere a little bit private. But just say it out loud, because it's amazing when you hear it back, you go, I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say something else. And does it sound like you would say it? And Jane, yeah, good comment there in the comments. You used the word you. Yeah, so it's you. You're talking to the person. I'm going to show you how to do this thing. I'm going to step you through this. If you click on this and then you do this, because the person who's watching it at their moment of need in the future when they can't log into the system is saying, can someone just show me how to do this thing? So excellent point, Jane. So scripts are fantastic. I use them all the time and they're brilliant. One kind of word of caution on them, though, is I've seen a lot of times, I suppose myself in my own development is, but when I'm supporting other people on developing screencasts on projects I've worked on, is sometimes people will spend an age writing the script. And it's perfect. And they have the script and it's perfect. And they've done everything I've just said. They've typed it up. They've thought about it. They've practiced the mouse on the screen. They've printed it out. They've read it back and they go, yeah, this is the best script of all time. If there was a screencasting if there was an Oscars for screencasting, they're in the best script category. That's how good this stuff is. But what happens then is they sometimes become too focused on reading and saying the perfect words as they're moving around on the screen that sometimes this type of thing happens.
If you focus on reading the words perfectly, it can become robotic sounding.
And I see that a lot. So there's kind of two elements to this. They've written this lovely, perfect script, but they want to, like, you know, actually verbatim say it out loud. And then they put on this voice. And we've all been there as well. And I kind of going to get that in a little while, but just use your own voice. Don't, you know, if I kind of go, I will show you how to do these 3 steps today, you're lost. You're going to click X, go on to the next YouTube video. So the script is fantastic. It is fantastic. It focused on my, but once you get a little bit more comfortable, and maybe you've done this for a while now, or you know the application inside out, and you know there's only 3 steps to this thing, it's quite straightforward. When you're a bit more comfortable, so scripts are fantastic, always use them, always start off. But when you're a bit more comfortable, you might be able to move on to the idea of having key points. So you know the key points of what you want to show. So you know, key point number 1 is I need to open the thing, I need to click on login, I need to enter this, I need to enter that, I need to click on access now, whatever the application is. So you know the key points of what you want to do on the screen. And you know where you want to go on the screen. And then that allows you, so instead of having to stick rigidly to every word on the script, so that can happen. Sometimes what I find is people stick so rigidly that then the screen doesn't match up. And I've seen this a lot. So, and it actually is an odd one. They have this fantastic script and then they go to say it, and then in their head they think by opening the file might take 1 second, but in fact it takes 5 seconds. And then you can hear the panic in the voice because that wasn't in the script. It wasn't scripted to be an 8-second delay. So by having key points, you can kind of get around that. You just say, I'm now going to show you how to open this application. And if it takes a few seconds, you're not kind of panicking. So when you get to that point, you can think of it as points on a map. A bit like this.
We started here. Then we went here, here, down here, over here, 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 and ended up here.
So I'm sure none of you have ever seen that film, but have any of you ever seen a film called Wayne's World? Just let me know in the chat. That's the guy Gart from Wayne's World. And that's a film from the mid-90s. And what it is about, it's called Clean Slate. The reason I have this thing in here because he just has points on a map, which is like the flow. But the film Clean Slate, what happens is he's short-term memory loss. So in this situation, it's a mistaken identity. So someone is chasing him. There's a baddie chasing him through somewhere. And then he ends up running onto an auditorium and it's mistaken identity. And somebody assumes he's going to give a 3-hour lecture on his travels across Africa. But he is the wrong guy. So he was just given this stick and he has to go. We went here, 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 and here, and here. But you get the point. That can really help to conveying that you're going to show someone around this map on the screen. That's what you're going to do. So, and what that allows is, well, it allows you to sound a little bit more natural. And as I said, it allows you to allow for tech delays. And what I mean by that is, you know, you click on the thing, it doesn't open in an instant. And if you are sticking rigidly to the script, you'll panic. You won't panic. You won't go mad, but you'll just hear it in your voice. Because it'll sound like, oh God, I didn't expect that in your head. And you can hear it in your voice. So when you get really confident, you have you've done scripts a lot, and then you're really comfortable doing this, and you've got used to everything about it, you might just have key points, and then you can go around. But again, like, don't have 100 key points, because then you won't be able to remember them. But your key points, and then you can just flow nicely around the screen, and you can click on the thing, and it opens up, and it's fine, and everything sounds good. Is everyone with me so far? Just give me a note in the comment. This sounds complicated, but it's not. And what I mean by here is an audio and video check. So I worked on a project a number of years ago with a subject matter expert, and they knew this application inside out, and I went through exactly what I've gone through with you there, and I gave them some support, and we're working on this project, and I was going to do the post-production editing for them. So they were going to just record this application. They were the subject matter expert, the SME on this application. They knew it inside out. They were going to record, and they were then going to send me it, and I was going to do post-production and add intros and outros and all that kind of good stuff. So they spent ages writing the script, they spent ages rehearsing, they spent ages navigating around the script, they spent ages making sure they were showing something very useful and very clear, and everything was fantastic. They then recorded and sent it to me, and there was no audio. So I said, look, very sorry, but there seems to be a problem. Can you go back and record that again? So they sent back and did it again, and again, there was no audio. So the simple check here is just do a 10-second recording. So what more than likely happened with this person was they had multiple microphones. And that happens in a lot of machines. You might have a webcam with a built-in microphone. You might have a microphone built into your laptop. You might have a headset, or you might have a separate microphone. But the system was obviously recording the wrong microphone. So this was so frustrating. This person has invested an awful lot of time in doing all of this stuff, and the audio wasn't working. So a simple check to do here for anyone who's about to start something, and this is not complicated, it's really simple. Just record something for 10 seconds. Play it back. Can you hear it? If you can, you're great. If you can't, it's pointing to the wrong microphone. And that 10 or 15 seconds can save you hours, if not days, of pulling your hair out. So that's an audio and video check. On your screen, so I'm lucky I have 2 screens. You may have noticed I have a screen here, I have a screen to my left, and I have 2 screens. So whenever I'm doing screencasting, so my point is I have a messy screen on my left, and I have a nice clean screen on my right. The messy screen has all the stuff that you have on your desktop that you might use, that you want to tidy away, and the stuff on the right has nothing on it. So have a clear screen, have no distractions, have no emails popping up, have no music playing in the background. Close all the applications except the one you want to show, because that will reduce the cognitive load on the learner. If the learner looks at and they see 25 different things, and they're kind of thinking, what's Emma going to show me here today? Just have the one thing open and share that one thing, and it makes it much easier. I was delivering a session like this a number of weeks ago. I was working on a project with a team, and someone told me that they story goes that this person, they recorded their screen. It was an internal recording that they wanted to share internally within their own company. So they recorded this thing showing this new application. And in the top right-hand corner of the screen for about 2 seconds was a file, and the file said job application. So then they shared it on their internal sharing, maybe YouTube or something, or stream. And then they got an email from their boss to say, are they looking to change jobs? Because for 2 seconds, they could see a little file. So that's what happens. If you have a file called something, that people will go, I wonder what that file is. So get rid of everything off the screen except the one thing you want to show. So when it comes to recording, you've done all your prep. You've done everything we've just gone through. Everything's fantastic. In the words of Emmett Brakowski from Lego, everything is awesome. You come to record and you have a microphone. The key thing on this is have the microphone close to your voice, close to your mouth even, which will be close to your voice. As I said, you could have one like on a webcam. You can have one built into a laptop. They can be built in everywhere. You can have one anywhere, really. I have one in front of me here, but if you don't have that, you can just get like a relatively cheap headset. But the thing is, have it close to your voice, to your mouth, because what happens is if it's far away, well, then it'll pick up a lot of the background noise. And if someone bangs the door behind or something happens behind, it'll pick up that more. And there's a distance. There's a distance then from the screen here to my mouth. So there's just a distance. It just won't sound as good. So just make sure whatever microphone you're using, have it somewhere near your mouth. It'll just be clear, because this happens all the time. If you have it far away and then you're like 5 or 6 minutes into the thing and then someone bangs the door and you're nearly finished, it'll all pick up that really, really loudly. Whereas if it's closer, it won't be as obvious. In terms of your actual voice then, back to what I said about the robotic thing, a lot of people, when they do this, what they want to do is they think, I've written this fantastic script and I want to sound amazing. So they do like, but the point is, now if you're hiring an external voice talent, that's different. That's the different thing completely. But a lot of people just want to do screencasts to show someone how to do something and share it with their colleagues internally in their workplace. That's probably a vast majority of screencasts. So for that, a lot of people then think I need to do the whole Hollywood voice. So we have the robotic voice earlier, but we also like have the Hollywood voice, where like, welcome, today I'm Emmett, I'm going to show you how to do boom, boom, boom. You can't keep that up. And you know what? It doesn't sound natural. and your learners won't connect with it because they know it sounds fake. So people say, well, okay, but what voice should I have? How should I talk? And to get your head in gear for talking, what I always say is, think of a friend calling to your desk and asking you, Emmett, can you show me how to do this thing? Or in this COVID world, they ping you a message and say, can we jump on Zoom or Teams? And can you show me how to do this thing? That there is your voice. So it's, yes, no problem. Look, this is how you do that. So that's your voice. So people overthink it, but just to stop overthinking it, you just say, think of your friend calling to your desk and asking for help. And you go, yep, no problem. And this is how you do it. And on that as well, if, yeah, we'll come back to that in a second. So you're at the point now, you have the key points in front of you, and now you're ready to record. Everything's good. Everything's perfect. The microphone's ready. You have the script. You have the screen ready. Everything's nice and clean. You're ready to go, and you have the key points in front of you. And now I just want you to focus on the thing that says 10 seconds. So did you all focus on that? And how long did that feel? Just let me know in the chat there. So I just asked you to focus on that timer. Okay. I'm not sure about you, but for me, yeah, thanks, Tom. It felt a lot longer than 10 seconds. So you're focusing on something, so it felt a lot longer than 10 seconds. It only actually was 10 seconds. That was only 10 seconds. But it does feel a lot longer. And my point about all of this is keep them short. So try your best to keep them as short as possible. And this ties in, and what's the optimum time? This ties in, generally, personally, I aim for kind of 2 to 3 minutes. Even in Kate's talk yesterday, in reference to the book, Carl Kapp and Microlearning, there's a lot of good research. Camtasia, TechSmith, who make Camtasia, have done a lot of good studies in this. And also in Carl Kapp's book, there's a professor in the States who did extensive research on edX videos. So they looked at more than 6 million edX videos in terms of engagement and completion rates. And 6 minutes was less than 6 minutes is seemed to be the optimum. And the TechSmith stuff would indicate around the same, 5 to 6 minutes. So shorter is better. Typically, I said, for me, I try to do 2 to 3 minutes. It's not always possible. But the thing about this is it's about breaking it down. You know, so if you want to watch a 1 hour video of how to do everything on the application, that's fine. But my preference will be you break each video into like has a distinct outcome. So video number 1 will be how to log in. Video number 2 will be how to upload. Video number 3 will be, so you make it very clear in the video, this is what it's going to show you. And then it's usually 2 or 3 minutes long. And that has massive benefits on number levels. For you as the producer and the editor and the recorder of this, if you have something that's an hour long, the chance of making a mistake in something an hour long is very high. Whereas if you're like, if you have a 3 minute thing and you're, you know, you make a mistake, you've only lost 3 minutes of your life. So less is more. Yeah, less is more. And I suppose my key, the phrase I always go back to on this is, the key phrase I always go back to this is, you might be familiar with Mark Twain's phrase, if I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. So people assume because it's nice and short, it's easy to do. In anything, it's actually harder to do. It's harder to make something more concise and more edited and more clear and more understandable. It's easy to talk, to ramble for an hour. It's much harder to be very concise. And that's why having a script will really, really help and practice. So before you actually record, have a drink of water. Clear your throat. Take a deep breath. And smile. And yes, smile. Why smile? So this is a GIF I love to use. I often ask people, who's this? And my favorite suggestion of this is a famous Hollywood actor. And my favorite suggestion to this was someone said it looks like Zaf Galifianakis, which it does, but it's not. It's Robert Redford from a film in the 70s. But I often use this GIF because when I look at this GIF and I share it with people, it generally makes me smile. It generally does. This GIF just makes people smile. So why am I asking to smile? Because people will hear it. You'll hear it in your voice. And your learners will hear it in your voice. So a top tip on this, if you're having a bad day and things are going really wrong and things are going bad for you, that's not the day to record a screencast, because you will sound angry. You will sound like, open the file now, click on this and save it. Nobody wants that in their life. So if you're having a bad day, that's the day to do your editing and maybe your script writing. That's the day to do those things. But when you're in an okay mood, that's the day to record your audio and just smile. And people will hear it in your voice. And then you get the 3, 2, 1 and go. And now you're live. And now you're recording. And I generally aim, doesn't always work, I generally aim to record twice. Not always possible. As I said, you have bad days where you stumble over all your words and nothing goes right and someone bangs the door or the microphone falls over or something happens or the screen doesn't work and things are going wrong and you have to record loads of times. And that happens to everybody. But my general aim is to try to record twice. And again, because they're only 2 or 3 minutes long, I'm not doing like a 50-minute thing. They're 2 to 3 minutes long. So record twice. The first time, tell yourself, Emmett, this is a practice. This is a practice session. And then the second time is your take 2. And then you take the best one. And then you do your editing or whatever you want to do afterwards with the best one. And what's weirdly reverse psychology about all of this is I often find that my first one is actually my best one. And I think it's because I've told myself, Emmett, this is only a practice session. Relax. And by telling me it's only a practice session, I'm actually just more relaxed and my tone of voice is more relaxed and how I'm doing things is more relaxed. And I more often not pick the first one. As I said, there's some days it could be 3, 4, 5, 6 takes. You can't speak. It's like, do you ever hear see people or hear people they go on a radio to do a quiz or a show and they can't talk? It's because it's fine until you're the person on the thing. But in general, I try to do 2 takes. Take 1 and take 2, and then you take the best one. Afterwards, when you're finished, just play it back. Back to what I said about my colleague or the project I worked on before, that they spent ages and ages and ages and did everything done and sent it on to me. And it looked fantastic, but I couldn't hear him. So just play it back. Can you hear yourself? Can you see it? If not, just go back and do it again. But if it is the case, you've only lost 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. You haven't lost 3 weeks. So that's, again, showing you the benefit. So the benefit of the learner is they're small bite-sized chunks and the learner can just search for a discrete thing. Emmett's going to show me how to log on. Emmett's going to show me how to fill this bottle. Emmett's going to show me whatever. And it makes their learning experience better. But for you as a person creating all these things, the content creator and the editor and the producer and whatever you want to call it, if you make a mistake, you've only lost a few seconds, a few minutes. So guys, now you're at the point, that's the heading gear. Is everyone still with me? It's 10:34. That's your heading gear. I've now gone through what they are, why you might use them, why they might benefit your learners, things to think about before you actually start creating. Any comments at this point, guys, or any questions or anything you'd like to ask, or can I jump straight into part 2? I'll just have a quick drink to clear my own throat. I just see some comments there. Lena, yeah, you can hear the smile. Completely agree. I read about an app, Crisp. Suzanne, great question, Crisp. Yeah, I haven't used that one. I'm going to take note of it. Crisp. Yeah, there are apps like that to just remove background noise. That's fantastic. Yeah, again, it depends on how professional you want these things to be. Experience in real life with an experienced trainer. Yeah, 45 minutes full of mistakes. Yeah, look, and these things happen because in their head, they have this section. They want to just deliver this session for 45 minutes. But it kind of doesn't help the learners either. Not kind of, it doesn't. Like, I mean, if you Google something and if you YouTube something and you see a video for an hour or a video for 5 minutes, which one are you going to watch? You're going to watch one for 5 minutes and you're going to scrub across the timeline to get to the point you want. Can you just show me that thing I need to know to get into the thing? That's what you're going to do. You're not going to watch the hour. If you wanted to do an hour thing, you might go to a class. You sign up for something for an hour. So great comments, guys. Keep them coming. That's fantastic. So now we have our heading gear. So now part 2, which is the bonus part, is we're going to take a very quick look at the tech and the tools. So now I'm hoping you're in the headspace of, okay, I might start doing this thing called Screencast. Yeah, I can write a script. Yeah, I know what it is I'm doing. I can share with my colleagues about how to do this thing. but I don't know what tech to use. So I'm very briefly going to show you some tech to now put into practice what I've just gone through in part 1. So the 2 tools I'm going to bring you to very briefly. Number 1 is PowerPoint. And everyone says, PowerPoint? Yes, PowerPoint. For screen recording? Yes, PowerPoint for screencasts. And the second one is a free Screencast-O-Matic. Now, I use a range of tools, but I'm sharing these two because they're either, first reason, PowerPoint, most people have PowerPoint. Most people in this industry have Office 365 or have Word and Excel and PowerPoint. And you have PowerPoint, so something you can start using right this second after this course. I use Camtasia a lot. Camtasia is fantastic, but I'm just going to show you Screencast-O-Matic very briefly because you can get a free version of it. That's all I'm going to show you. But they are both screencast recording tools. And what I love about Screencast-O-Matic is it kind of does what it says on the tin. Even the name sounds like something from the 1960s, Screencast-O-Matic, but it's a screencast. That's kind of what all it does. So it doesn't try to do 100,000 things. It just does that one thing very well. David, excellent suggestion. I'll keep a look at that. Share X, fantastic. David, yeah, there's other ones. There's Loom. I've colleagues who use Loom for very short little stuff to share internally, and that can put your thing on. Great question there. Record audio and screen. You could, Morgan. You could. I typically don't because I'm usually showing something on the screen. It has happened. It might come up in a post-production, Morgan, where I generally try not to. I generally try because I find that's my natural rhythm and my natural tone, so I'm going to show stuff, but it has happened in post-production. I might have made a mistake and I might have called it the wrong thing, so I might have, instead of saying open document X, I've said open document A. So then what I might do is just in Camtasia or in the editing, I will actually cut out the piece of audio and replace it with the correct one. But I generally, but you can, some people do, but to me that will take more time because then you have to line up the audio with what you're doing. And that takes a little bit more editing, but I typically record them in one go, voice and movement at the same time. Linnea, you're 100% correct. Yeah, you can record in Zoom and Teams. There's loads of things you can do. Yeah, and everyone has those tools, so they're fantastic. But I'm just going to share with you these two at the moment. So we're going to jump into a demo. Is that okay, everybody? So I'm going to share some items on my screen here. Okay, so number 1. Yep, guys, fantastic suggestions. Yeah, most of these things can. I'm just sharing 1 or 2 with you that I know that that are either free or easily accessible. Yeah, so you can. So you can Zoom, you can record a screen, fantastic. You can do the same in Teams, fantastic. And all of those things are fantastic. So I'm just going to do a quick demo in PowerPoint. So hopefully you all have PowerPoint. So you open a PowerPoint. So here's a blank page, a blank slide, should I say. This is just something I have here. And you go to the Insert tab. Can everyone see that? Just let me know on this. Let me know in the chat that you can all see this. So you go to the insert, even a thumbs up or something there, guys. So you go to insert, and on the far right, can everyone see that? On the far right, there's a thing called screen recording. Just let me know you can see that. Thanks, Tom. So it opens this little control panel. I'm just going to close that for a second. I'm just going to close this guy for 1 second. So insert and then click on screen recording. Thanks for the thumbs up, everyone. That's fantastic. You're all still awake, which is super. So it then pops up this little control panel. So see, it kind of changes the lighting on the screen. It kind of fades everything out a bit. And then your mouse changes. It changes into this crosshairs. You see the crosshairs? And you then create this box or this frame. So see, I'm just clicking on my left mouse button and I'm dragging the frame around this. Okay, I'm going to get this out of the way for a second. Just put that down there. Okay, so now I've just put this box around Excel. I want to show you something very quickly to do in Excel. Now, top tip here, lots of people, what they would do is they would just do full screen. So they record a full screen. Okay, the issue I have with that is to get this panel back again. There is a shortcut key, but I generally just use the mouse. To get this panel to allow you to stop recording, you have to move the mouse up and hit the top of the screen. That makes sense? And then you click on stop. But then that means you have that panel, you have that action at the end of the video, which isn't really what you want. So the top tip is put your frame below this. Put your frame below this panel, okay? So I have the panel here, I have my frame below it, I have my frame around my Excel, and then I click on record. Now again, I'm still in PowerPoint. I'm all in PowerPoint. Click on record. 3, 2, 1, do the smile. In this screencast, I'm going to show you how to do the sum function in Excel. So I'm going to enter a number of values into these 4 cells. And then in this cell, I'm going to enter and I'm going to equal sum, open brackets, and then I select these 4. And then I close brackets and then hit return. And that automatically sums up these. And to prove it, I'll just change any of these values here and it automatically updated that in screencast. Okay. So that's a 28-second screencast. Now, what you've noticed what it's done is we're in the world of PowerPoint. So what it's done is the slide I happen to have been on, it puts it on the slide I happen to have been on. Does that make sense? Is everybody still with me? So I'll play that back. In this screencast, I'm going to show you how to do the sum function. And then we all hear our own voice and we all cringe, but that happens to everybody. So you can see that's the video now in PowerPoint. So lots of people just leave it in PowerPoint. So that's free. You have PowerPoint, you press the word insert, you pressed on the video, you record a screencast, and now it's in PowerPoint. So lots of people leave it in PowerPoint. So people say, here, I'm sharing a deck with you, and on slide 4, I have a short screencast, and that works perfectly. So you just share the PowerPoint deck, you share with anybody, and then the video is, the screencast is within that slide. For more flexibility, what I like to do is if you just right click on, so that's just, you can make this bigger or smaller, you know, to suit the size of the screen, to do what you want. It just made it that size because that's the size it was on the screen. For more flexibility, what I like to do is I right click on the video and then I save media as. So now I'm going to take it out of the world of PowerPoint. I'm going to extract it from PowerPoint and put it somewhere else. So I save media as, and then it's just a media file. So we'll say demo on today is the 11th of February 22. And I'll just put that on my desktop. And there it is on my desktop. And now it's just a standalone video in this screencast. So you can then share that video any way you want. So that's PowerPoint. It's just insert on a slide, insert the screen recording, and you can leave it there or you can extract it. That took about maybe 3 to 4 minutes. So anyone now, knowing what you know, you can then just start recording screencasts in PowerPoint. So it works. It's free. Well, it's free in terms of you have it. There's loads of other tools, but it's there for you in PowerPoint. The other one I want to share with you today is the free version. So I have a paid for, as I said, I use Camtasia a lot. It's fantastic. I use it for a lot and for my post-production editing. It's amazing. And there's been other fantastic sessions this week on Camtasia. But I'm just going to share with you the free version of ScreencastOMatic. So you just go to ScreencastOMatic.com, and when you go for the first time, you'll be asked to download. You just come to ScreencastOMatic.com in some 1960s. It's like something that would have been in Cars or something, you know, the kids show, Screencast-O-Matic. So you go to Screencast-O-Matic, and you can then install a free, you can install and download a free editor or a free screen recording. So what I say about PowerPoint is it works, it's free, you have it, you can start using right this second, it's reasonably functional. Okay, so I'm going to close this down for a second, and I'm going to leave this, I'm going to delete this again, and we can start from scratch in there. So when you download a little application from Screencast-O-Matic, you will, it'll install in your desktop, and you click on a button. To see the button I clicked on there, it's just a little circle. To see the circle with the circle inside it, it just clicks on it. That little circle opens up, and then you have this frame. So now you can see straight away it gives you a bit more options. Can everyone see that? It gives you a lot more options than the PowerPoint did. So straight away you can say, do you want it to be the screen? Do you want it to be the webcam? The webcam won't work because my webcam is in use talking to you guys. Or you can use both. So you can put the webcam at the bottom, you can put the webcam anywhere you want, you can put the webcam over here or here, and that allows you to be on the screen if you wish, or you can just have the screen. So for this, I'll just have the screen. For the free version, you have a max of 15 minutes. Now, you can have as many videos and screencasts as you want, but each of them can only be 15 minutes. And based on what I've just told you in part 1, that's loads. Really, you shouldn't be going more than 15 minutes. And based on all the good research, you just shouldn't be going about 15 minutes. So for the free version, it's 15 minutes. Again, the paid for version, it's unlimited, and the pay, you can look it up. The cost model, it's not an expensive tool if you need to buy it, but I'm just sharing the free with you so you can get going. You can see straight away the narration. It's saying to you like, so for instance, if you had 5 or 6 microphones, this is my, remember I said my audio test. I can just make sure I'm pointing to the right one. That's all I'm doing here. And then if you want to share computer audio, you can share computer audio. And then this is similar. You have this frame or this box, and then you just make this box whatever size you want to make it. So you can make it full screen. You can, and they have predetermined sizes. So you can make it like 480, which is very small. Do you see the box changes automatically? You can go 720. You can go our full 1080. Now, when it goes full 1080, you can see it kind of fills up most of the screen. But oftentimes, if you go 1080, it actually includes a taskbar at the end, which means you have to do something clever to minimize the taskbar. So typically I don't go full screen because it might include the taskbar, but it also might put this control panel on the other screen, which isn't what I always want. So instead, what I always do want is, so say I go back to 720 and you just press the middle and you move it around. So I'm back on 720, but it's a little bit smaller than I'd like because I want my Excel. So I have a choice. I can make my Excel smaller, but that's quite a small frame. So another top tip is this. Generally, widescreen nowadays and all HD and all screen resolutions is 16:9. So it's 16 wide by 9 high. And that works best. So everything if you don't have 16 wide, so see at the moment it's 1280, that will then put these black bars, black bars on either side or at the top and the bottom. And it doesn't look good, doesn't look professional, doesn't look nice, it just doesn't play properly. So if you put on YouTube and share with someone, there'll be all these black bars down the side, which isn't great. So the top tip is just to make sure it's 16:9. Well, you can do the maths, but simple maths are 1600 by 900 means it has to be 16:9. I'm in the wrong place, 1600, and then click over here. 900. 1600 by 900, hit return. And now the frame is 16:9. So now I know that this frame is definitely 16. You can do any combination of maths, right? Okay, there's a lot of clever people here this morning. So as long as the ratio is 16:9, and I've made it blatantly obvious that a 1600 by 900 wide, that will be 16:9. So that will now be the right size. I've checked, I want my screen to record. I've checked the size. I've checked my narration. You can see the green bar going up and down. It's really nice, clean user visual interface. With PowerPoint, you just kind of click on start and you're done. So now I'll hit on record. And again, I'll clear my voice. In the screencast, I'm going to show you how to use the sum function. 4 values in here, and it's equals, enter the word sum, open brackets, select the 4 boxes, the 4 cells, and then close brackets, and then we have a sum. And to prove that, I'll change the first value here, and we can see it automatically sums up. And that is the sum function. So yeah, I was phenomenally original there, guys, wasn't I? Just doing the same thing twice, but you get the point. Okay, so now you click on done. Now with the paid for version, when you click on done, you can go straight to the editor. Okay, you go straight to the editor and then you can do some nice editing, post-production editing in the editor. With the free version, the kind of most optimum way to do it is you just save this, okay? Okay, so it does open this editor of sorts. Can everyone see that? It opens this editor of sorts, but it's the free version, okay? So what I really like about ScreencastOMatic is straight away in the screencast, and to see it automatically adds in the cursor ring. Does everyone see that? That's really effective. It's a really useful thing. And what it also does is because that grabs the learner's eyes. The learner's eyes is drawn towards that. It's not always obvious when you're moving your mouse around the screen where the mouse is on the screen, but it automatically gives you this for free. And what it does as well is when I click on a cell, watch when I click on a cell, I'm going to show you how to use the sum function. I'm going to put 4 values in here, and it's equals, enter the word sum, open brackets, select the 4 boxes, the 4 cells, and you can actually kind of get haptic feedback. You can see the circle went smaller, went bigger again. So it adds in this cursor for you automatically for free. So as I said, the best step to do now is you just save this. Again, if you have the paid for version, when you click on edit, you can go straight into the editor. But for the free version, there's kind of an intermediary step. So we'll save this as a video file. So I'm just going to save it onto my desktop. Okay. So I'll call this screen demo 11 February, or the 111th of February. That's a lot of days in February. So we haven't 111 days in February. So we're on the 11th of February, and I will then click on publish. Okay. So this is just going to go, and I'm saying, yes, please include the highlight cursor, which is a really nice thing to have. And I click on publish. So it's a short, and it'll be done quite quick. That was like 15, 20 seconds long. So now if I play the video again, it plays back as a video. In the screencast, I'm going to show ScreencastOMatic show you how to watermark in the corner, but you have the cursor. In the screencast, I'm going to show you how to use this. So now I have that in its kind of, would say, reasonably unedited format, but that can be perfect. That's 19, it's 16:9, it's widescreen, it has a cursor, everything's fine. But if you want to edit this a little bit further, you can just go back into your ScreencastOMatic account and you say, please, I want to edit a video. I want to add the video. And it's the one I just did. Which one? Screen Demo 11. Is that the one I picked? Yeah, Screen Demo. And you click on Open. And now you're in the free editor. One second there. The free editor should launch in a second. Okay, 1 second. So as I said, with the paid for version, here we go. With the paid for version, you just did one button less. You finish a recording, you click on done, and then you click on edit, and it brings you straight to this. With the free version, you just save it locally, and then you go to the system and you say, the video I want to edit is this one, please. And then you open this. Okay, can everybody see that? So we're now in the editor. So we can see it has a simple editing tools. So this is much more advanced than PowerPoint. So PowerPoint, you just record the thing, it puts it on the slide, and you're done. So I'm going to wrap this up in about 2 minutes now. But you can do some simple editing. So you can do tools. So say you wanted to cut out, say there was a bit at the start you didn't like, or there's a bit in the middle here you didn't like. So you can just bring over your timeline and you can decide, you know what I do? I want to cut that piece out there. I didn't like what I did there. You can just drag it and you can cut it. No, I won't in this instance because that's actually an important part of it. You could come back to the start. I'll cancel that. You come back. So again, you have, it's a comprehensive but simple editor. It's one timeline. You don't have multiple channels like you do in other editing tools. You have one timeline, but you have multiple tools. So I'll just add one thing in. I might want to decide that I have a little logo or intro picture. You might have an intro video. You can add in the intro video. You can insert a little intro video that you've already added, you know, welcome to Screencasts with Emmett or whatever. But you might have a little image you might have. So I'm going to pop in an image here and I click on this. And I have an image of this conference. So we can then just put that here and drag that across. Again, it'd probably be better if that was properly 16:9, but you get the point. And then you can shorten that down to this. It comes on for the first 2 seconds and then you hit play. In the screencast, I'm going to show you how to use this. And once you're done, then you just click on done. And then you can save it locally. You can go direct to ScreencastOMatic or you can go direct to your YouTube account. So I'll just save it as a video file locally. And again, it's because it's quite short, it will publish quite quickly. So the longer the screencast, the longer this rendering step will take. I'll change that now to new. And publish. So all we've done there is I might have cut something out and then I've added in the little intro video, the little intro image of Let's Get Practical. And we play the video. And now in the screencast, I'm going to show you how to use the sum function. Bring it back so you can see the start. So guys, I'm going to pop back to my slides now. So I know I'm very conscious of the fact that was quite a whistle stop and quite a quick tour. And what's fantastic in the chat there, guys, and we can have a quick few questions in a minute now shortly, is there's lots of other tools and there's lots of things that you're going to share with now, which is fantastic. But that's the demo. So now the whole idea of this really, guys, is the fact that we've done the 2 parts. Pretty much. Part 1 is your head in gear. You know, have you now got your head in gear a bit more about what screencasts are and why you might use them and good tips and best practice? And now that I've shown you 2 tools, again, there's loads more like Camtasia, Loom. Someone mentioned there Share X or Crisp for audio. There's loads more tools. So, but the two I've shown you, I deliberately showed or shared those two with you this morning, which are PowerPoint and ScreencastOMatic, because they're kind of both free. So you could straight away today or tomorrow or whenever you have time in the future, you can just open PowerPoint and insert a screen recording and start making your own. So with that, the next steps for you is think of an idea, select a topic, think of something you would like to show. Have a clear idea of what you want to say and what you want to show. And I'm often asked, Emma, okay, but what will I show? Like, what will I share with people? Like what do people want to know? And my answer to that is, whatever industry you work in or whatever you do, is there something that people every few months ask you, can you show me how to do that thing? Like maybe the people start a new job or it's onboarding or it's whatever it is. And it comes up time and time and time again. You know, or there's a new application and you're the person who is always training people up on the new application. So whatever that thing is. So simply put, I would always say, if you're ever asked, can you show me how to do, finish that sentence. The end of that sentence is your first use case, and that's your first screencast. So then you can record the screencast, and then you can point people to the screencast, and if they then can't figure it out, then they can come back to you. Write a script. Think clearly of what you want to show on the screen, step by step of the tasks and the words you will say, and then use the tools. You can use any you want, but you can now see that you can easily use PowerPoint or you can easily use ScreencastOMatic. So play with the tech, record, start creating your own screencast and repeat. And once you get into it, you'll get more and more into it. So there should be a poll popping up on the screen. So the poll here, guys, I'm just asking you, do you think you might start creating your own screencast in the future? Sorry, I won't pop up on the screen. Tom is the technical whiz there that's going to manage all this for me, but there should be a poll in the event session there now. So the question, or you can even pop in the chat, guys. Do you think you will start creating your own screencast? Just yes, no, maybe.
Yeah, I figured out how to use it properly this time. So it's now in the stage polls. If you just go across from chat to polls, you'll see it there and you can start voting straight away. As
Thank
many
you very
of you
much,
already have.
Thank you very much. So, guys, I'll leave that poll open for a minute, and then we'll wrap it up with a Q&A, and I can answer some of the questions that you may have. Thank you, Tom. While you're doing the poll, my son brought this home from school a couple of years ago. And so remember, all things are difficult before they are easy. And I think it's fantastic. And it is. Because the first time you do the screencast, or the first time you write a script, or the first time you turn on a microphone, or the first time you speak into it, or the first time you do anything, it's going to be really, really hard. But then the more often you do it, and the more you realize, look, people just want help with this thing. I want to record this. I want to write a script and record it in a friendly tone of voice and share with people, and it can help people learn. And it's of use to them, and it's of use to me. And what it will do as well is it'll like free you up from answering the same things over and over again. So all things are difficult before they are easy. Tom, any polls there before we go to the Q&A?
Yeah, we've got loads of responses. Let me pull that up. We have got 84.2%. 16 votes saying they will create screencasts. No one saying no. And 15.8%, 3 people saying maybe.
Maybe. Excellent. So it's overwhelming, yes. And guys, it doesn't matter. It's up to you completely. It's good to hear a lot of you are interested in this. But today's session was all about getting your head in gear and showing you some tools that you could use. So I'm going to have a quick look at the chat and we'll finish. So from Emmett Burkowski and from me, Emmett Culnan, today's session is done. So I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll take a look at the chat. And Tom, if we have a few minutes, I can answer a few questions if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. If anyone's got questions, now's the time.
So guys, I'm just looking here. Stefan, thank you very much. Do you have any tips on feature participant focus on what you're showing on the screen, for example? Tom, sorry, Stefan. Yeah, that's kind of been answered. You can get separate tools. You can buy them in, little tools, and they put a little circle around your mouse. But with ScreencastOMatic and with Camtasia, it automatically does that for you. Not real time. It appears on the video. and that will do that for you. So they have that built into the system. So you just navigate your mouse the way you always would, and then when you play it back in the editor, Screencast-O-Matic or Camtasia, any of those type of tools, it automatically puts the zoom function around it. And question 2, what do you think about the presenter being seen in a picture? Or it's completely up to you. It's completely up to you. It depends. I often go back to Mayer's principles, and he has a principle about picture on the screen, and it really doesn't matter. The data shows it doesn't matter. Some people prefer to be in the bottom corner, some people don't. And a very common mix will be at the very start of the thing, you're on full screen. Hi, I'm Emmett. I'm going to show you today how to do something in Excel. And then you disappear, and then you have the full screen of the Excel to allow the learners focus on the Excel. And then you might have it at the end. But it whatever preference works for you. The only kind of key thing is make sure your picture doesn't cover something you're showing on the screen. That wouldn't be good. Sadie, I apologize if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Screencast-O-Matic adds captions. Accuracy isn't great. Yeah, fair enough. That's a good point. Oftentimes, what I do there, I've worked with companies who use Camtasia as well, and they often have to manually type into things, which is tough work. Personally, what I often do if I need closed captions, and I generally do, I want people with good universal design of learning to have the option of closed captions, is I'd often host them on either stream or YouTube, and the accuracy in YouTube is very good. So instead of hard coding them into Camtasia or Screencast-O-Matic, I published a video, I uploaded to YouTube, and then the accuracy in that is pretty impressive. Sadie again, which is a fourth option for people already been screencasting. Okay, fair enough. Sorry, I'm not sure what the fourth option might have been, but if there's a fourth option, maybe you can suggest one there. And if you can tell me how to pronounce your name properly, that would also be fantastic. Tom, any questions or anything you want to ask before we wrap this up?
No, I think that was a really great session. I think there's loads to take away from that. It's as I say, there's it's one of those things I think sometimes people just jump into and then go, that'll do. It's only a screencast, forgetting that the person at the end, then they're just going, well, I'm not watching these again because this is awful. So no, this is really, really great stuff.
No, thanks for that, Tom. And I completely echo that. And even when I started, I was the same. Sure, it's only a screencast. How hard can it be? But I keep going back to the Mark Twain thing. It's if I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. And and it's the same with anything in good design, to make something look easy. And I actually think it's a reverse psychology. When you have a really good document or design or e-learning content or a screencast or wherever you have, and then the person is watching it and they go, that's obvious. It's obvious because you made it obvious. It's obvious because you designed it well. And they don't see the hundreds of words or the hundreds of retakes you did to get it right. So to make something look short and snappy and useful and helpful and engaging probably takes more work than just, as someone said earlier, recording someone for 45 minutes. They'll just talk for 45 minutes and their number of views on YouTube won't be great or whatever. It's harder to make something look a lot easier, but the reverse psychology of that is people assume, sure, it was only a screencast.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. All of Emmett's details are available on his speaker listing here. So, get in touch, keep the conversation going. And other than that, we shall see you in about 10 minutes for our next session with Damien.
Tom, thanks a million for your time and enjoy your tea break. And what's the hashtag, Tom? Biscuits now.
More biscuits or biscuits now. Absolutely.
More biscuits on a Friday. See you all, guys. Great to meet you. Bye.
Bye.